Hi, guys. It's Brennan here. And I feel like there's been so many people that have come back into this, and they haven't really seen the new capabilities or features of the platform. So I thought maybe let's do an impromptu walkthrough and just see what we can make happen there. Because I think there's so many features in the new platform and so many things that Charlie can do that many of you haven't been able to see it. Also, I have a fire going next to me, so technically this is a fireside chat. We will keep it that way unless the fire starts to burn down my apartment, and then we'll have to do something a little bit different. I might have to migrate the rest of this, but I really want to make sure that you guys are getting the most out of your Go Charlie experience. And so the only way that I can ensure that is that you guys actually get to see some of the things that Charlie is capable of doing, obviously. So first and foremost, before we jump into any of this, obviously feel free to ask me questions. Feel free to send things in. I'm going to have this basically going until we're done. We're going to walk through all the different features. But most importantly, I want this to be a takeaway. So this will go up on YouTube. You guys will be able to see it. But let's dive into all the things that you can do here, because it's very clear to me that a lot of people don't understand many of the things that Charlie is actually capable of, and it's pretty insane. So first and foremost, this is the homepage. This is where you're going to come to see the UI. Over here on the left, you're going to see all of your projects. So we have little icons for telling you what is in each project. You can also name these projects. So I can quickly go back into here. All I have to do if I want to name the project is simply left click or right click, and I can rename. I can also delete bad projects if I don't really like the outputs. Let's just show you how that works real quick. All we have to do is go here, boom, delete, and it is done. Then up here on the left, you want to add project. This will just take you back to this screen. So add project. This is a project level prompt. Up here, you have workspaces, but don't worry, that doesn't really affect anything in the platform right now. That's for a future iteration that we are building towards. More to come on that later. But what you will also notice is you have this lovely little set of books. We'll go into what that means in a second. But if you click this hamburger button here, it just really expands the screen interface. So if you're trying to do demos, you're trying to show people what to do, all you have to do is click that button and it'll go away. Down here at the bottom, you have this pop-up menu. Now, there's a ton of goodies in this pop-up menu. First is tutorials. So most of those live on YouTube. If you're seeing this in our Facebook community right now, you're definitely going to already have access to most of these. I post them in the Facebook community first before they ever go to YouTube. Then support. So if you want to talk to me or someone on the support team, this is how you get through to us. Simply just click there and it'll open up an email. Request a feature. This is going to take you to upvoting. So this is where you can put any features that you want to see in the Go Charlie platform. We look at these periodically, incorporate them into the roadmap, and then ultimately make them into whatever you guys see in the actual end product. Then we have the prompt playbook. So I'm going to actually open this one because this is super important. The prompt playbook is intended to give you a interface for creating ready-made prompts. So all you have to do is come here and you put information about your company, information about what it does, or if you are an agency, information about your clients. And it will pre-populate all the prompts in these subsequent tabs, with some exceptions, with that information that you provided here. Super easy way for you to get all sorts of advanced prompts if you can't get what you want from a suggested prompt or from the prompt templates that we give you. Now, probably even the more important sheet here is the functions sheet. So read these. Functions are how Charlie the agent can call specific tools in his toolkit. So I did a post earlier today in the community about all the different things that Charlie can do. And there's a whole lot of them. But to activate them, sometimes you need to mention specific words just to ensure that Charlie knows what you're trying to say. If you upload a video and just expect Charlie to know what to do with it, that's a recipe for disaster. But if you upload a video and say, hey, can you transcribe the script and turn it into X, Y, and Z, Charlie's going to have a little bit of direction and will understand what function he needs to call. Many of these are tied to specific models, specific software tooling, specific things that you can do with the platform. So review this, but in each one of these cases, we've given you activation words to use, and we've also given you sample prompts of how you might use these tools in interesting ways based off of what we've seen users make or what we are creating ourselves using Charlie. So you'll see some of these tabs are great. They follow along with these with the business inputs, but some of these tabs are slightly different. And so I'll highlight those. First is the images tab. The images tab, we have all of these different aspect ratios, and we'll go through a couple demonstrations of what that looks like. But for every social media platform, every platform that you're engaging with, every platform that you want to create content for, we've basically taken every single one of those platforms, taken the most common types of content and media that you would need. We've turned those into specific aspect ratios. All you have to do is enter what you would like an image of here, and it will populate that into the customized prompts so that you can create content with that aspect ratio. If you're more of a do-it-yourself person, don't want to come in here, all you have to do is put aspect ratio and then put the type of asset that it is. So images is a little bit of a different tab than the rest of them. But then if you go back to, let's say, affiliate marketing. So this is something that we recently just added to the prompt playbook. So if you're an affiliate marketer and you want to create content about the product, simply just paste in the website product URL here, drop in your affiliate code here, and then we've already made some pre-populated prompts for you to be able to create content using Charlie with those affiliate and product links. So it's a really easy way to combine the web scraping capabilities alongside the content creation capabilities. We'll show you a little bit more about how you can mix and match those later. We also have some very interesting stuff on the research front. So this is where you can get Charlie to research different topics for you and incorporate those outputs and results into your content creation. And then we just have some general business and planning and ideation tabs. We're constantly adding more things to this, but this is intended for you to have a living file. So you can just make a copy of this. So if you're using this, just go to File, make a copy, and then turn that copy into your own. Maybe you want to make one for each individual client that you work with, and you can give them specific prompts. Maybe you want to make one for each project that you're working on. That's totally fine. Just make a copy, and you'll be good to go. So if we head back into the tool here, a couple more things. Legacy Archive. So Legacy Archive is just if you were a customer before we transferred over to the agent, this is where you can find all of your old content. Super easy, super intuitive. Then we have the referrals page. So this will take us into the profile page. So real quick, general. So profile settings, this is where you can delete your account, change your emails. This is where you can change your name. Then if you go into integrations, if you have a paid customer account, you can integrate Facebook and Twitter so you can post. Then this is a subscription page. So this is where you can be a business or a pro user. We have two different flavors, monthly and annual. If you want to buy a business account, simply just reach out to me. If you're a former lifetime deal owner, you are a business account by default. Then we have the referrals page. So this is super simple. Basically, for every 10 emails that you send that end up signing up, you'll get a free month of Go Charlie. So all you have to do, if you want to send this out here, is just simply add that email, send the invite. It'll go through, and then it'll update whenever that person actually signs in. So super easy way to invite people to the platform and get yourself some free usage of Go Charlie. Now, I've spoken enough about all the different particulars, but the last thing I want to show you is a knowledge library. So we have this fancy little walkthrough that's going to happen here, but basically there's a couple different tabs. First is the prompt history. So this is all the previous prompts that you've used, and this is all of the timestamps for them. So if you want to go in, let's say you want to use previous prompts, all you have to do is just click this, and it'll take you right back into using that. What's also interesting is that if you've uploaded particular files, those can also come through with you. So it will save that particular asset and come back into the fold. So this is a real easy way for you to go through all of your historical prompts and then ultimately be able to create new things. Then you'll also see the assets tab. So the assets tab is super fun because it's kind of like a gallery for all the images that you've created. It's kind of like all of the things that you've uploaded all in one easy to use place. Now, sometimes it takes a little bit to load because the image files are huge. As you can see, I've been generating some GIFs. I've been creating logos. I've been creating stock photography. I've been creating dogs. All of these fun little things are now available in my asset library. And the beautiful part is, if you didn't know, we have image editing capabilities. So if you want to make an edit, all you have to do is click into the image and you can access all of these image editing stuff. This is really great for you to be able to make any sort of edits, add frames, add text. We'll get into that in just a little bit. But then the last piece is the memory vault. So this hasn't quite been released yet. This is where we'll have system prompts, knowledge of your business, knowledge of your company, saved files in guardrails. to use with Go Charlie. This is ultimately where Charlie learns more about you so that he can create in your voice across a bunch of different assets. Super easy way to do it. Kind of a newer take on what we did with Brand Voice, but with equal parts of the RAG system that you may have heard. We call it ARG, Augmented Retrieval Generation, for those of you that aren't familiar, but that's the way that we do it. But okay, so now we've got the particulars down. We've navigated through the website. Let's go back and let's start creating some content, because that's ultimately where we want to go, right? So first off, you can use this just the same way that you would start out with any sort of ChatGPT type function, any sort of other AI tool function where you're giving a prompt. All you have to do is simply just type in what you want, and Charlie will go with it. Now, while this is loading, a couple other things. So once you do a project level prompt like what we just did, it will create a new project. Think of a new project as your new client file, your new area for creating. Once you're in a project, then anytime you add new content, it will show up in this project. So let's say that I want another dad joke, for instance. I got this dad joke, and then it's going to make another dad joke, all in the same project, right? So now I'm sitting here. I can go back out and say Mega Fireside Walkthrough. And this will be the name of my project, but now I'm back. I have all my things here, and this has my different dad jokes. So that's great. Once I create a piece of content, you'll be able to see the last prompt that you used by just clicking this drop-down menu. So we heard many of your feedback points. We made the last prompt collapsible. But again, this arrow will take you back into a prompt. So again, that arrow just takes whatever your prompt was and takes it back into a prompt. But then if you want to copy, all you do is copy here, and you can take that back wherever you want. It's whatever you prefer. Honestly, I prefer to use this arrow, and then I go back into the prompt and make adjustments. But now that we're in this project, let's create a little bit more robust content, right? So let's first start off with very basic text type functions. So generate an article about the pros and cons of having a fireplace in your one-bedroom apartment during the holiday season. Super basic, right? Same as you would with anything else, but it's generating text. That text will come back, and ultimately you will have this article based on what you were writing. But Charlie's a little bit different than other things because you can run multiple things at once. So if that's still loading and I want to generate an image of a golden retriever, I totally can. So I can have simultaneous prompts running. It's very easy to request. What I could also do is, this is a pretty good article, but let's say that I want a couple different versions. I can say generate 5 articles about the pros and cons of having a fireplace in your bedroom during the holiday season. Note, an article is slightly shorter than a blog. It's a more of a snippet type situation. But again, notice how I'm generating 5 pieces of content there at the same time while the image was generating. This is one of the ways that Charlie is different. You can have multiple workflows going at once. Now, that's really awesome. But let's say that I get to this article and I want to start making some edits to it while I'm waiting on the rest of my content to finish. So what you can do is simply select this text, and you'll see this awesome little sparkle button come up. This is called Charlie Unleashed. Charlie Unleashed is just a floating AI assistant that comes with you as you're making edits to your content. So we have a couple preset options, but then you can also give your own command. So first, if I want to expand, I click write more, and Charlie will write more. Notice, while I'm writing this, other jobs are still working. So this is great. Charlie expanded on it. But then let's say maybe I don't like the way this paragraph is written. So I'm just going to have Charlie rephrase it for us. So Charlie will take a little bit of time, come back with it. But notice, again, other jobs are still running while I'm making this happen. Then what I can do is simply go in here, and let's say this is a little too long, so I want to trim this down to 2 sentences. So Charlie will go ahead and truncate. Sometimes it's not as severe as what you choose, but we have varying degrees of severity of those chopping down. Really easy way for you to make targeted edits without you having to rewrite the content yourself. Then let's say that I want to make this tone funnier. So this is where I can add different tones. This is where I can change things. This is where I can make Charlie make it simpler where I can make it more technical. This is ultimately where you can do the scalpel type edits. So if I was like a doctor and I was operating on the whole body, and the whole body was this article that I'm working on, this is the way that I make different capabilities. This is the way that I play around a little bit. Now, please note that Charlie Unleashed is not the agent product. So it doesn't have all of the functionalities that you saw elsewhere. It's more for targeted text-based edits. So it's not going to be for images, and it's not going to be for researching the web to replace something. This is where you're ultimately using Charlie to make simple text edits. Now, in the future, I do see us expanding that beyond this. So let's say that I now have the images. I now have this. Let's give the page a quick refresh. Sometimes the articles get stuck. Looks like Charlie's spending a little bit of time with his other articles here. But let's now play around with some of the other things. So first off, you guys may notice that I have all of these cute little buttons here. So what are those? Those are prompt templates. So a prompt template is something that I've made myself. So what I can do is I can go into each one of these. I can make edits to them. I can save them. So let's maybe make one right now. Let's do a plus here and say generate an image of placeholder, aspect ratio placeholder. And let's select a icon for this. So I'm going to go with, I think I want to do something that has a little bit more. Let's just choose fire since this is our fireside chat. Why not? So now I have the campfire. I have the generate an image, and all I have to do is click save. It looks like I've already maxed out my prompt template, so we're fine here. But this is where you can save templates. So if you have a template that you do as a podcaster, for instance, every time you finish an episode, you want to create some specific thing, you can do that. So all you have to do is simply get those here. Some are fun. Some are a little bit more forward. Me personally, I have proposal templates, and then I have a template for turning a YouTube video into a bunch of content that we can share out. I then also have a dad joke one. So all of these are readily apparent. But then you'll notice that in the add content bar, we have a couple different other options for you. So there's all these suggested prompts. You can search in here, look at all of these suggested prompts. You can have all of these different categories. So content repurposing. You can go to for fun. You can go to for marketing. All of these different categories are available to you. And all you have to do is simply click on any one of those and it will automatically pop up there. But let's say that you don't like any of those and instead you want to just generate a blog. So blogs are a little bit different. Blogs are a multi-step process that's happening in the background. So let's talk about blogs because I know that's a big one that people want to talk about. Let's actually use more of a templated prompt here than what we have. So if I go here, so this is how blogs really work. So there's a bunch of key areas that you can use for blogs for it to ultimately make the content that you need. So first is write a 1 to 5 section blog. Each blog section is 300 to 500 words. I doubt that you're going to need 5 or 2,500 words for your blog. If you're writing that, no one's going to read it. But if you feel strongly about it, you can use Charlie Unleashed to expand on the different amount of sections. 5 is the maximum number of sections. So writing a 3-section blog, we're going to make the topic on having a fire in your fireplace. We're going to have it targeting millennials with apartments. So see that? Cool. And then you're going to have keywords. So this is where you can add keywords. You can keep them. You can not add keywords and let Charlie do the work for you. We'll talk about how that happens in a second. But with the keywords, fire safety. Why not? And then title of the blog, don't light the roof on fire. Why you should be safe about having a fireplace in your apartment. So what's important to note is that if you just mention blog, Charlie will go into those types of blog steps. But if you don't add these particular fields, Charlie will choose them for you. So he's usually going to default to 3-section blog. He's usually going to choose the topic based upon the context that you've given him. He's usually going to give it a title, and he's going to choose the target audience, and he's going to add the keywords. So when I click enter here, what is actually happening is that Charlie goes to the platform and he says, okay, this is what they want to talk about. These are the topics. Here's what they want to speak through. This is the way that they ultimately want to work. And then it takes all that information, it goes out to the web, and it researches the topic that you want to create about. It then takes all of that research and brings that back in. Then it goes back out to the web and does a SERP analysis. So based on that SERP analysis for that particular topic, it identifies keywords. So based on all those keywords, then it brings that back into the context window. And then finally, it does a fact checking of all the content that it's creating in the blog to make sure that it aligns with what it's seeing on the web, the topic that you want to talk about, and your instructions. This ultimately allows you to have a SEO optimized blog that's web research, fact checked, and cites its sources at the very end. So this was a shorter blog because I only did 3 sections, but that's how blogs and some of these other workflows differentiate from other platforms, because Charlie is doing a lot of that work for you. Charlie's choosing the words, Charlie's choosing the sections, Charlie's choosing the title, he's choosing the keyword. He's basing it all on his own research. We've built those capabilities in. So if you're trying to do blog writing prompts that are like crazy chat GPT nonsense that have 1,500 words in them, that's just not going to work. That's not how this tool is designed. It was designed for the people that want to make great content in a readily done way that's well-researched and has web capabilities built in. So that's how blogs work. But then let's go back into some of the other capabilities, because this is going to be interesting. So we talked about images. Now, images is very interesting because we have what I think is probably the best image model and image suite on the planet. Midjourney has some capabilities that we do not. It has a richer suite for editing, as does Adobe. But I think raw output, we are the best on the market. So let me show you what I mean by that. So let's say generate an image of a golden retriever next to a fireplace. So let's just do a very default image, because there's going to be a lot of ways that we can do this. Now, if you were following along earlier, you'll remember that there's a ton of different aspect ratios that you can create. So let's actually take this prompt that we were already creating. So a stack of black boxes that are wrapped in hot pink ribbons. Some boxes have baby blue ribbon. Luxury include a white puppy. So let's do some fun ones here. Why not? So I'm going to take this particular prompt and go back in. So we just got Charlie sitting next to a fireplace. That's actually a pretty great photo. Now, the default for image generation is square, right? So let's show you how it might change. If we do aspect ratio landscape, Charlie might come back next to a fire in landscape mode. But then we can also do this other one that we were wanting, which is a Facebook cover photo. So we can simply ask that. Remember, we're asking all of these at the same time. Let's say that we want to do aspect ratio Instagram story, because we do a lot of work on Instagram. We want it to be up and down. This is where you're going to find that Charlie can do a bunch of different capabilities. So this is one that he came back with for this particular prompt, and it's a Facebook cover photo. So you see that it's left to right, and it adheres to the aspect ratios for Facebook cover photos. So this is super important if you are using content to drive engagement and traffic to your site, because those aspect ratios will line up to the particular type of post that you're trying to create. Those aspect ratios will line up to a particular type of platform that you are creating for. So all of these are really easy ways where if you incorporate them, you can now see that Charlie has a bunch of different outputs in different aspect ratios. So this is really cool if you're creating across multiple platforms. Really cool if you have other things that you're trying to create for those different platforms, but still keep the same feel, same message. All you have to do is change that aspect ratio part. So we know that image creation is really cool, and these look really great. They look even better when you bring it up in this full screen mode. Now, I promise you, when you download them, they are a little bit sharper than this. We had an issue with caches, so stay tuned for how that works. But if you download this, it's always a little bit more precise. But what you'll notice when you click into this is that you now have this image editing suite. So first off, you have filters, you have resize, you have crop, you have draw, you have text, shapes, stickers, frames, corners, merge. let's just jump into a bunch of them. So filters are exactly as you would expect. You can make this Technicolor, you can make it grayscale, you can make it black and white, you can add multiple filters. So I'm now starting to get a little freaky with those, but black and white is an easy way for you to kind of add onto this. Maybe you want to emboss, make it a little bit weird. I don't particularly use filters a lot, but it's a real easy way for you to be able to do that straight from the image editing suite. Then let's say that you want to resize this. All you have to do is simply activate the resizing menu and you'll be ready to go. But then you can also crop this photo. So if I just want to only have this part, or I only want to have this part, or there's only certain parts of the image that I like, I can do that. But if you don't want to apply it, you simply click cancel. If you want to apply it, make sure that you're clicking this. Now, you also have draw, right? So you have different brush colors. So let's say that I want to go white, or maybe I want to go red because we're in the holiday season. You can choose different types of brushes. Some use a diamond brush and maybe size 15. And so all I do is this, and let's say that I want to draw a heart there. That's perfect. I could do that. Don't think it really goes with the flow of how proper this image looks, but easy for us to see. Then probably the most important one and the most requested feature for us has been being able to layer text in over top of this. So you can choose the font down here. You can choose the size. You can choose the color. You can choose the background for it. You can outline and shadow it. For me, I'm going to do this one and say happy holidays from Charlie. So let's do this. And then I'm going to put paw print or two. And let's maybe shrink this down a little bit. There we go. Let's do over here, actually. I think that might look better. And then let's do my color as red. Cool. So now we have this. Charlie's a little bit kind of relaxing over here. And then all I have to do is click apply. It saves there. But then I can also add all of these different things. So there's shapes. If you need to add different shapes that are pointing around on your particular masterpiece, you can. Simply just click this, and then you can change the color, change opacity. You can make an outline. You can add shadow, all sorts of things. You can also put that in the dumpster if you don't like it. Then you can do stickers, right? So I can do doodles. So let's maybe say a Christmas tree. Looks like we got a whole bunch here. Now, this is a little too cartoony, I think, for this particular one. But if I had generated something a little more cartoony, that would work perfectly. There's also landmarks here. So maybe you want to do a castle. Maybe you want to do the Golden Gate Bridge. If you're like me, you can do that. You can change the color of it. I'm not going to use any of those right now. But then you can also do frames. So frames, I think, is actually one of the things that really adds flavor to it, especially if you're like sending postcards or if this is a holiday card, which in this case it would be. You can add those. And then you can mess around with the corners a little bit too, if you wish. But all of these are great. Then you click merge and it all merges into one layer. So now you got a good to go image. Now you click this button to download, but then you click this button to save it back into the UI. So that's very important. You click this to download or this to download down here, and then you click save to save it into the UI. But ultimately, that will overwrite it. So make sure that you are sure that you want to keep that masterpiece. So let's say that we're done now. We have this image that I've created for the fire, but that's just the image editing suite. So that was a very quick run through of that. Obviously, you guys might have more questions. I'm going to do a quick check into the studio. Awesome. Meme feature is fun. Long-term memory sounds interesting. Yes. Okay, cool. So if you're still with me, now we have a couple other things that you can do. So transcribe. So many people have said that they were wondering what happened to the YouTube videos. So now it's right in the platform. You just have to say transcribe. So let's go to my channel or our channel, and let's take this one. So this is about Charlie Unleashed. And let's just bring this back in here to the tool itself. So transcribe this video, click this, Charlie will transcribe it. Now, sometimes Charlie cuts off the video. We only go up to 10K characters right now. So just make sure that your video is going through. Sometimes some of the things, like I definitely don't speak very clearly at times, and it misses out. But it will usually give you the YouTube video link, and it will give you the content back. Similarly, you can say transcribe this attached file, and you can similarly attach a video that you've created. So simply go here, say transcribe this attached file, and then Charlie will go and run with it. So all you have to do is, if you're uploading a file and you want to reference it, make sure you add the function that you want Charlie to perform, and you also reference the attached file. ChatGPT will sit there and take forever and say, oh, this is a file. We just need to say reference the attached file. That's it. Super easy for you to be able to make things. So let's maybe try a slightly different file here. So I just went through my annual resume update, and let's upload a file and see what happens here. So what you can do is say, all right, I've used my resume. I'm uploading it, and now I can ask a question. So what is the most important achievement of the person in the attached file? So Charlie will go into my resume, and he'll ultimately evaluate what's going on there, and then he'll come back with his own input. So this is a really easy way to use attached files. Just make sure anytime you're using a file, you're uploading a file, that you reference it back. So this is the transcription that Charlie did for a video, but also brings back all of the information. So separately, this is Charlie's response to my PDF being uploaded and me asking a question. This is a really easy way for you to be able to ask questions. You can ask for summaries of documents. For me personally, I like to take a lot of thought leadership and ultimately use that to create other content. Now, let's go back to one of the other features that we also have here before we get into some of the combinations, which is research. So I can say research the latest fundraising announcements in the generative AI industry and make them into a bulleted list with a summary of the companies that raised. So this is a really easy way that I can use Charlie like a search engine. So ultimately, I just ask Charlie to research. He goes out to the web, finds that information, brings it back. If you need to have sources, you can tell Charlie to cite sources. If you need it to be in paragraphs because you're doing posts for different types of updates and different instructions in a particular industry, you can do that. That's all you have to do. Simply just go in and ask a question. Really easy way for you to use research. Maybe let's try this a slightly different way and say, research the latest fundraising announcements in generative AI industry and make a bulleted list with links to the announcements. Because the last thing many of us want is to have a search where it's just a bunch of gobbledygook and it doesn't actually answer the question that we have. So Charlie makes it a little bit easier for you to do that. Now, I've shown you a whole bunch of different things. And now I want to show you how Charlie can combine to do many different outputs at once. So let's go back to this image capability that we had first off. And let's just kind of amp this up to show you what happens when you do multiple outputs. So generate 5 images of a golden retriever next to a fireplace, aspect ratio, Instagram story. So maybe you don't want to wait a long time for 5 images, and instead you want to get, instead you want to just generate 5 images at once and choose the best one. You can do that here. Super easy. Another way that you can do images is you can say create a stock photo of a blogger at a cafe. So this stock photo piece will actually allow you to call Pexels and use Pexels' entire image library at your fingertips. So that's part of your included membership. Separately, you can say generate a GIF about things coming together. So now you'll have a GIF engine. This is an integration that we have with Giphy where those GIFs will come back into the platform. Separately, you can also say generate a funny meme about how AI startups aren't yet at AGI. So these are all separate tools that you have. Stock photography, GIFs, funny memes. You can get Charlie to access different libraries based upon the different prompts that you use. So this one, it's going to have me come back with a link at times, but this is also where you can see some of the different outputs that we have here. So Charlie is coming back. He's made all these. He's made his GIF. He also has images from Pexels they can use, and then he has the funny memes. So we're still waiting on some of the images here. But these are just ways that you can use some of the individual functions. But where I think Charlie really shines is when you start to combine these functions together. So first off, here's a fun one for anyone that's selling services to companies. So I made this prompt that says, take a look at this website and draft a proposal for how I can improve the conversion and performance of the website. Include a quote for the work, assuming my hourly rate is $200. So all I do is I have Charlie web scrape, and then I give this sort of logical component. This is really great because all you can do is you're using the web scraping information. It brings that into context, and then it drafts a proposal, and it makes some calculations based upon the hourly rate that you gave Charlie. Let's go back in and try something else. So let's take this YouTube video that we have here, and let's do a multi-step prompt. So I go here, and I say, use this placeholder to write a blog about the new feature update, an email to go to our customers, 3 Instagram captions advertising the features, and a post for our customer community on Facebook, structured like a step-by-step guide. So I just paste the YouTube video here. Automatically, it's going to transcribe this YouTube video and bring in the most important points, similar to how we had it before, but now you can have a lot more flexibility. So I'd simply just do this with the transcription, and Charlie will use that to create a blog about the new feature updates, an email to go to customers, 3 Instagram captions advertising the feature, and a post for you guys that talks about the feature in a step-by-step proposal. Now, while we're here, you can see that we have this proposal that Charlie's made for that particular client. You're also going to see that we have this fiery retriever. We have another cozy dog by the fire. We have Fireside golden retriever there. And then we have a Fireside golden retriever here. So you got 5 images outputted. You got a proposal prepared. You have your images and GIFs for all your posts that you're going to do and your stock photography of a blogger. And then ultimately, this is going to come back with all this different content that you had. So where Charlie really shines, I think, is coming up with different things that you can combine together. So we talked about it. We have our transcription. We have our blog writing. We have images. We have research. We have transcriptions. And then we have this attached file feature. So you can even combine information. So you could say research generative AI and talk about the benefits of implementing it using this information from this article. And I can go to McKinsey's fun future of generative AI article, and I can incorporate that into here. So now I'm researching generative AI and I'm bringing that article into context. I could also have uploaded a file and attached that to that particular prompt as well. So now I have this blog about the particular feature update that I provided. This is a step-by-step guide that talks about what we talked about in the video. This is an Instagram caption talking about all the new capabilities that we're talking about here. So you can do multiple outputs and get very high quality outputs that you can then make edits to with Charlie Unleashed, or use the different features at your leisure on an individual basis. Sometimes making multiple outputs at once is a little bit overwhelming. So sometimes I just do one-to-one, but I think doing multiple at once allows you to keep the messaging and the content and the context, most importantly, consistent across. Another example of this might be that you add in this multi-output prompt. So this is available right from the suggested prompts, but it says create 2 posts for Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook about my product. If you are across all of these platforms, all you have to do is simply paste in a link or paste in a website to scrape or paste in any sort of context that you want. And Charlie will use his social media engine to ultimately create content in the structure that's best for each one of those platforms while keeping the same context across each. This is super great for any business that's trying to be multi-platform without having to scale their team to have a member of each team across every single platform that's out there. So this is a really easy way that you could get all of this content back at once. Simple posts, all of them reference the YouTube video that we were talking about. So easy way. I've now created 45 items in less than it took me to do a blog in before Charlie was actually a live thing. So these are all the multiple output types that you can do. You can mix and match any one of these types of things. You can mix and match the blogs. You can mix and match blogs and images, blogs and transcriptions. So this is great if you want to go YouTube to blog. You can also mix and match transcriptions plus attached files plus multiple links. So that's where you can use web scraping plus blogs plus transcription. You can also have Charlie tell stories about an image. So you can upload an image and create a product description, or upload a holiday image and get Charlie to tell a holiday story. If you need something for your kids to go to bed, you can have Charlie tell you a bedtime story. You can combine the research capabilities with your transcription part to find out if there's a topic that someone's created something about. You can use research to supplement that and ultimately create a blog or create a script for any type of asset that you're trying to create. The possibilities of what you can create with Charlie are now limited only by your imagination to combine the tools that are available to you. So another maybe wild one that you can try out for yourself is just create 5 tweets about my company, GoCharlie.ai, a content creation platform with a dog mascot, and include funny memes for each post. So this is just a couple different ways that you're starting to see that you can experiment with this. Like maybe you like to do meme marketing, but you want the meme marketing to line up with your messaging and you don't want to go in and have to edit it yourself. You can simply just have Charlie generate all of that at once. Charlie will come back with tweets that are the length appropriate for the Twitter platform. It'll come back with all sorts of different things for dogs. It'll come back for funny memes. So now you have all of your posts with all these different funny memes that are attached to it down here in the gallery. And if you don't want to see what's in the gallery, you can simply hide this and you can make edits to the text itself. Maybe you don't want to see where the text is either, and you just want to look at the image. You just click this little button here and ultimately goes away. So that's a very, very fast run through of everything that you can do with GoCharlie. And there's more that I haven't even been able to get through in this particular one that you could use at your leisure. Our goal is to focus on making the best content creation platform and then ultimately the best content creation assistant for you long term. You'll start to see more automation features working into this. You'll start to see Charlie being available on a bunch of different platforms. Maybe a little bit of a teaser here. There's a Chrome extension that's in heavy development. You'll be able to access here soon. But this is all part of the suite of tools that we are building around GoCharlie. So if there's something that you want to create and you don't think you can with GoCharlie, please let me know. Probably the only 2 things that I can think of that you won't be able to create are videos and PowerPoint slides. And I'm not saying that those are not on the roadmap, but they may come into play at a later time. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, see if anyone has any questions. Make sure the fireplace is working. Okay. Looks like we've addressed all the questions, so that's great. I know this was super impromptu and hours that maybe not are convenient for everyone since it's like 5:30 Pacific time, but wanted to make sure that you guys got a walkthrough of this. This will be up on YouTube. We'll continue to do more walkthroughs, more feature discussions, more prompt specific things. If there's more workflows that you want to see specific information on, specific types of outputs, specific questions you have, obviously put them in the group and we'll make sure that they get addressed. So thank you for your time and we will end it there. Have a good night, guys.